Hip-hop is a culture that forms such strong bonds between us, but it can also be one that helps tear people apart, unfortunately. This is mainly a male-driven sport, but that's definitely not to say that the females are left out of it, including the beef aspect. We're about equality here, am I right, guys? I talked about one of the first ever female rap beefs previously with MC Lyte and Antoinette, but that definitely wasn't the only one to occur. Before Nicki Minaj and Remy Ma, or Nicki Minaj and Cardi B, or Nicki Minaj and pretty much any other female rapper you can name, we had a big altercation that still lingers to this day. What happens when your business associates, friends, and the media drive a wedge between your friendship, especially in an industry where you're a minority? This is Lil Kim versus Foxy Brown. Kim and Foxy both grew up in Brooklyn and were high school friends. Their careers started around the same time, albeit with different people. However, they were still in similar circles. Lil Kim was down with Biggie and a part of the group Junior Mafia, while Foxy Brown was a member of the group The Firm with Nas and also associated with Jay-Z for a time as well. Apparently, DJ Clark Kent, who was a producer for artists like Biggie and Jay-Z, is a cousin of Foxy Brown and helped her get into the industry. She was also a potential member of Junior Mafia like Lil Kim, but it didn't pan out, perhaps because they only wanted one female rapper in the group. The beef between these two started around the time that they both released their debut studio albums in 1996, Kim's Hardcore and Foxy's Il Nana, which released 1 week apart from one another. Apparently, somewhere in the album artwork, they were both shown wearing the same outfit, which sparked controversy. Once again, this whole thing of copying seems to spark a rap beef. This led to a falling out in their relationship, and record executive Leroy Cohen apparently offered the pair $500,000 each to record an album together that was titled Thelma and Louise, which they denied. Early in 1997, they appeared on the cover of The Source together, but things between the two were still not repaired. The first shots on record were fired by Lil Kim on the song Play Around from Lil Cease's solo debut album, The Wonderful Case of Caesar Leo, released in July 1999. After Lil Kim's verse, Puffy comes on the track telling people to stop trying to sound like her. An obvious shot at Foxy Brown, considering this was not long after the beef started. The shots would get much more vicious and even literal soon enough, however. On Lil Kim's second album, the notorious K.I.M., released in June 2000, Kim Win At Foxy on the title track. Throughout the first verse, Lil Kim sends multiple shots at a female MC that wants to be like her, has gap teeth, a ghostwriter, and so on. Perhaps vague enough to not be able to pinpoint a person in particular. However, she also throws in the line, "I'd bet on Lil C's before you and your firm." The Firm being the rap group that Foxy Brown was a member of, making it much clearer who's being dissed. On the second verse of the song, Kim throws shots at Shine for sounding like Biggie. It's funny that she disses the two people here allegedly trying to sound like her and her former boyfriend, Biggie. Wow, the title is also a reference to the Notorious B.I.G., one of Biggie's other names. To drive the point home even further, the chorus of this song is a sample from Notorious Thugs from Biggie's second album, Life After Death, which is one of my favorite Biggie songs of all time, by the way, and features Bone Thugs and Harmony. Shortly afterwards, Foxy Brown would have her moment of responding back on wax as well. On CNN's second album, The Reunion, released in November 2000, Foxy Brown was featured on the song Bang Bang and took this opportunity to return fire at Lil Kim for her previous disses. How fitting of a track to verbally fire at an opponent. Like, I've said in a previous video that I do wonder how these other artists feel about their song being used in the midst of a beef that doesn't even involve them though. According to an interview with CNN, they said that Foxy originally had even more disrespectful lines at first, but she changed her verse to not go as hard at Kim. Nori from CNN had also mentioned that he played the song for Diddy and that Diddy flipped on him for allowing someone to diss him on their song, and that it's basically like co-signing it. It's an understandable opinion. I would probably feel the same way, honestly. As far as the track goes, it's also very fitting as the title of that track and these verbal shots would perhaps be foreshadowing something else soon to come regarding the two and their beef. Foxy dedicates her whole verse towards showing Kim exactly how she feels about her, and even starts the verse off with the line, "Hot damn hoe, here we go again," aka the famous line from 10% Diss, one of the diss tracks that MC Lyte sent towards Antoinette. It's also a response to Lil Kim's verse from the Quiet Storm remix from Mobb Deep's fourth album, Murder Music, released the year prior. On that song, Kim starts her verse off with the line, and she also was dissing another female rapper, and Foxy might have taken it as a shot at her considering their beef going on at the time, but many say that it was actually Charlie Baltimore that Kim was dissing. Foxy did her thing on this verse right here though. She sends shots right at Kim for mentioning her consistent Biggie references even after his death, as well as calling Kim fake, a hoe, and questioning the street persona that she's taken on. Months later, in February 2001, the beef would escalate to violence, however, as a shooting took place in Manhattan outside of the Hot 97 building. The radio station had booked Lil Kim and CNN interviews back to back, which led to one leaving while the other one was arriving outside, and things escalated from there, likely because of Foxy Brown dissing Kim on the song from CNN's album. Words were said and gunshots rang out, reportedly 21 of them to be exact. Apparently someone in Capone's entourage and someone in Kim's had an issue, and one of the people with Capone got shot in the back. Fortunately, no deaths were reported from it. Still a very dangerous situation, and as with multiple other beefs in hip-hop, the media once again has a part to play in worsening the tension. This is also the situation that led to Lil Kim being sent to prison for a year for perjury in 2005, as she had lied on the stand about whether or not she knew the people that were involved in the shooting. Apparently, a week after the shooting, Foxy Brown reached out to Lil Kim to try to reconcile things, but was denied. Leading up to Kim doing her prison sentence, they both continued to take shots at one another. This time, it was fortunately back to being on wax. Around this time, Foxy Brown was due to release her fourth album, Il Na Na 2, The Fever. However, it was shelved due to record label disputes, but the album supposedly contained disses sent at Kim as well. Also, shortly after this, Foxy Brown would unfortunately start to suffer from hearing loss, which many say had a negative effect on her rapping from then on. On Kim's fourth album, The Naked Truth, released in September 2005, the same week when she started her prison sentence, Kim dissed Foxy on the song Quiet, featuring rapper The Game. She mentions Foxy Brown's arrest in 2004 for fighting manicurists at a nail salon, as well as her fight in April 2005 with fellow female rapper Jackie O, as well as again claiming that Foxy has ghostwriters. She also sent shots at former group Junior Mafia for testifying against her in court. Since then, subliminal shots were thrown between the two here and there, but Kim started to turn her attention to up-and-coming rapper Nicki Minaj, leaving the beef with her and Foxy not in the forefront as it once was. Nevertheless, there was still tension between the two. In 2011, Foxy Brown released the song Massacre, dissing Lil Kim. She starts off by dissing Black Friday, the mixtape that Lil Kim had released earlier that year, which itself was a response to Nicki Minaj's Pink Friday album released the prior year, which featured a song dissing Kim. On various tracks, as well as social media, Foxy would make mention of the beef Lil Kim has with Nicki Minaj and essentially support Nicki in the beef. In 2013, it was rumored that Fabulous was going to bring Lil Kim and Foxy Brown on stage together during Hot 97's Summer Jam Festival and publicly squash the beef. But according to Foxy Brown, it wasn't going to happen as she and Kim hadn't even spoken beforehand and it wouldn't be real to her, especially as Lil Kim had previously laughed at Foxy for losing her hearing, which she felt was too far over the line and that Kim still refused to squash things with her. Lil Kim, when asked about it in an interview, stated that they were never supposed to both appear on stage together with Fabulous, only that they would be on stage with him at different points in his performance, individually. Once again, another failed attempt at squashing the beef. A few years later, on Nicki Minaj's fourth album, Queen, released in August 2018, Foxy Brown appeared on the song Coco Chanel with Nicki, still siding with Minaj due to them having a common rival in Lil Kim. Later on, in 2020, it was rumored that Kim and Foxy would have a versus battle, which might have been yet another opportunity to publicly squash the beef. However, Swizz Beatz confirmed that no versus between them was confirmed. The next year, in 2021, Swizz was on social media and made a comment about Lil Kim doing a versus, basically questioning who she should go up against. which led many once again to feel that a potential versus between Lil Kim and Foxy Brown might be in the works, or should be, as they are one of the most obvious choices to go against one another given their long history and similarities. Now, this would about wrap up the beef to this point. It still remains unsolved, despite it starting roughly 25 years ago now, and it's probably the longest running beef in hip-hop history at this point, especially between two female MCs. Overall, I think it's unfortunate that the two women haven't been able to come to an agreement and put things behind them to move forward more positively. But not everyone is willing to let things go, and it's ultimately up to them to choose to do so. As far as who won the beef, well, career-wise, Lil Kim put out music more consistently than Foxy, as perhaps her hearing loss had something to do with it, as well as record label problems, and both would suffer from legal issues, which also surely hindered the greater potential career that they could have had. Regardless, they have both put out top-charting songs and albums, been nominated for awards like Grammys, and went on to continue rapping and have even become mothers at this point. So, congratulations to both Lil Kim and Foxy Brown. I hope at some point that this beef does get squashed. But, as always guys, what do you think about this beef? What's some of your favorite songs from this beef, and by the artist in general? And what beef do you think I should cover next? Let me know in the comment section below, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.